What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Shop Talk Tuesday Live. Just give me 1 second to get everything set up, and then we will be on our way with tonight's live stream. Once again, we're going to be doing a Q&A while we get some things set up for our new style. It might take a couple weeks to get the new Shop Talk Tuesday down, because we want to get to pouring some projects and everything together as a group. But we're not quite there yet. I underestimated a little bit how we're going to be doing this in the house with, kids and all the stuff. So just give me 1 second to get this stuff set up. If you are watching and you're part of the live, go ahead and like it, but tell me where you're chiming in from, or tell me something that you've worked on within the past week, or what's going on in your week, one of those things, while I get set up here. My week has actually gone pretty good. If you guys are not part of Patreon, I did a couple of lenses, which is kind of like a story on Instagram. And my truck kind of got messed up, and I actually ended up fully fixing it tonight. So that was good right before here. So sorry I'm a little bit late. But I'm almost ready. All right, so Renee Porter says hello from Virginia Beach. Hey mom, how are you? Jeremy P says hello. Alan Smith says Layton, Utah, making gauges and depth gauges. Well, that's pretty cool. Steve Noe says howdy from North Michigan. Just got my Good View sweatshirt and tape. Hey man, thanks for ordering some tape. Yeah, let me know how it goes, and if you want to, Steve, post a picture of you wearing the Good View merch. I would really appreciate that too over on Facebook if you got it. Aaron Hungay says, hey fella. What's up, Aaron? How are you, man? Kelly O'Neill says hello from Woodstock, Georgia. And Renee Porter says, yay, Steve. All right, guys, so let's kind of jump into it. I had a couple of questions this week. And this is one I actually get quite often, and I'll be actually doing a video on it. But we had a couple of conversations back and forth with another gentleman on Facebook. But he was asking, how do I clean off, my stuff, my epoxy stuff? And the quick answer to this would be, I don't. Especially when it comes to, here, look, this is my mixer. I have all kinds of stuff hanging off. Really, all I do is when I'm done mixing, while it's still in the bucket, I spin it at high speed to get all the stuff off of it. And then I let it sit and dry. I got these stalactites and stalagmites hanging off of here, and you know what? It's okay. This thing cost $5, and I've been using this one for 2 years. So really not wasting any TV. I mean, wasting any money on like solvents or anything to get rid of the epoxy. It's all good. It doesn't matter. I think it's a little bit of a waste of time, waste of money to be cleaning stuff that doesn't cost. Now, if your tools, like your drills and stuff, get epoxy on them, obviously you want to clean them off. But as far as the mixer and the buckets are super easy. You just let it sit in the bucket and then crinkle the bucket and pull out the mass, and you can reuse it. I would not reuse buckets for flood though. Okay, so you always want a new bucket for flood coats. Just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and read some of these comments. Aaron Hungate says turned in while I'm working on updating my website. Well, that's cool. Aaron Hungate, hey, if you get a chance, go ahead and link your website here on the chat, and we can send some people over to your stuff. Chad says, do a feed where people can be like at once, or something like Nick Pixel TV does. So I have to look into that because I'm not sure what that is. And William Wagman says, like a decrepit flower. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's right. Jeremy P says, have you tried putting epoxy on flowers? No, I haven't, but William Wackman just sent me a video the other day on a way to put epoxy on flowers, so that might be something that we can dunk coming up on our new setup on our live streams, which is, like I said, it might take a couple of weeks for that to happen. Like I said, I want to get it set up to where we can be pouring things once a week, and stuff like that. So just hang with me while I get everything set up. That way we can really have some fun and interactive Tuesday nights. And then Chad says like a multi-live stream. Yeah, that would be cool too. I understand, Chad. Wayne Clark says, what's up? What's up, man? What's up, Wayne? How are you? Bruce says, what about hitting with a hammer to break it? Oh, like to break the stuff off the mixer? Yeah, you could totally do that. Brian P says, how do I fix drips on the bottom of the table? Ugh. Well, William Wackman says tape on the underside. He's right, and I have a whole video on it. So if you search on my channel, I have a video specifically on drips on the bottom. So go check that out. And then Steve says, and how to avoid future drips on the bottom. Yeah, so you can, I would use packing tape. Actually, packing tape seems to do the best on the bottom, just because it's stronger than painter's tape. So I would use packing tape or Goodview Woodworks tape. Iron Man Metal says, what's up, handsome? Love from Philly. What's up, Iron Man Metal? Appreciate that. William Wackman says tape on the other side. That's right. Wayne says hello from Philly. Wayne Vance. And Aaron Hungate says recently changed the name. Okay, Aaron, what'd you change the name to? Let me know. So, anyways, guys, another question that I had. We move on to the second question. So we move past the cleaning of the stuff, but now I had a few questions on how to, when you have a slab of wood, how to rip it right down the middle and get the ends square. And this is something that I just kind of figured out along the way. And what I do is, when I look at the slab, even if the slab was kind of like crooked, I pick a middle point on the bottom, middle point on the top, and I make a straight line. And then I cut that line. Now, once you have that perfect cut, you then have a place on your straight edge when you have the two pieces, right? You have a straight edge to use your 90, like your square or your 90, whatever kind of 90-degree angle you have, and then you can make a mark to make the ends square. And then you can cut those marks. So what I'll be doing is I'll be doing a detailed video specifically on that too, just because so it'll help you guys out as well. So Aaron Hungate says 520 Woodworks, hence the website name. So Aaron Hungate says he's changed his name to 520 Woodworks. I'm gonna have to go check it out. Bruce says cooler here in Australia, so I'm doing some epoxying. Yeah, that's awesome. What's the temperature over there in Australia? And if you could do Fahrenheit, please, because I don't understand that Celsius stuff. Chad says, if you want to do a multi-live stream as Nick Pixel TV, he'll help you set it up. All right, appreciate that. Oh, he says, ask. Okay, no problem. And then Kyle Johnson says, thanks for your show. Hey, Kyle. You're welcome. Hey, Jennifer says, hi, Nathan and good viewers. Happy Tuesday. Hey, Jennifer, so your epoxy is out in the mail. It should be to you. And so I shipped it ground, so I don't know how long it's going to take to get to you. But hopefully it'll be there by the end of this week. And if not, definitely next week. So your epoxy is out and headed your way. It took a little bit with shipping. The first time actually shipping epoxy, which is weird. Well, shipping epoxy, like that much of it. They almost didn't want to ship it, but we ended up getting it shipped, so everything is all good under the hood. Okay, we are going to delete this. We are going to hide this user. We have somebody putting some inappropriate stuff on there, so hopefully you guys didn't see that. But yeah, so sorry about that if you guys saw that. That was disgusting. Renee Porter says, hi, Jennifer and Chad. Hit us up with a super chat. Hey, Chad, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for always being there to help support the Good View Woodworks channel, man. I really appreciate it. Jennifer says, hi, Renee. Missed you last week. That's right. She was out, I think she was out at the grocery store, if I remember correctly. William Wagman says, I swear it wasn't me, LOL. Yeah, it was. Dude, this is probably one of the most inappropriate comments that I've gotten on here. Really gross. So yeah, I'm glad that it kind of, I think it hit it, so that was good. Steve No says, there's one in every crowd. Ugh, yeah, I know. Renee says, yeah, I had to go get some groceries. Good memory, Nathan. Yeah, see, so you can ask my wife, what I tend to remember are the things that don't matter. Like numbers and stuff at work and stuff that doesn't matter. So, how many of you guys, I was going to ask a quick question too, as far as woodworking goes. Now, I know the channel is epoxy and woodworking, and usually the stuff that I post that is a little outside, that doesn't do too well. However, how many people on here like automotive stuff? Because I think that is a big, that's a big niche on YouTube, is some automotive stuff. And if you guys didn't know, that's my background. I went to school to be an automotive technician, and I really enjoy automotive stuff as well. So I've been thinking about maybe incorporating a few things here and there in the Good View Woodworks section about cars and just the stuff I'm working on. And possibly, so I was gonna, I ended up selling, I had a 1975 Volkswagen bus that we ended up selling recently. But my wife has always wanted to build a camper, and more like a trailer. So I've been thinking about maybe doing one of those, and I'm not sure. This is kind of way in the future for right now, but I've been kind of throwing around the idea of possibly doing something like that, but I'm not sure. Let me know. Bruce says, the average temp for me here is 85 degrees Fahrenheit, but I put the air conditioner on in the shed. At 85, yeah, that's actually really nice weather. A little too warm for epoxy. I've made that mistake. Had something crack on me. But I actually like the warmer weather. That's not hot for me at all. Lost Sailor says, hey brother, what's up, Lost Sailor? How are you? And Steve says, I own a truck accessory detailing shop. I do epoxy to relax. Yeah, Steve, that's awesome. So when he says truck accessory and detailing, what kind of accessories? And Jeremy P says, VW bus is my dream ride. I know, man. It was a high top too. It was a high top bus, full camper. It had a sink, stove, refrigerator. I just didn't have the time. So my wife and I actually drove off at our wedding in it. And we also camped in it a couple of times. But it was sitting in the yard and just, you know, kind of rusting away. And I just couldn't for the life of me let it fall apart in the yard. So somebody came over and I didn't even have it for sale, but somebody kind of offered me cash. And so it went to a good home where they were actually going to restore it. So it was really cool. I was glad to see it go into somebody else's hands. They're going to take better care of it than I was. Brian P says wooden epoxy steering wheels. Yeah, that'd be cool. Lost Sailor says damn. I don't know if that's a cuss word or not, but it's close. I want a camper bus. And then Aaron Hungay says you will gain more followers if you add the mechanic side, but what helps the algorithm? More followers or views and length? Think about adding another channel versus the same one. Yeah, I know. So as far as the algorithm goes, I'm actually pretty confident I know what causes the algorithm to change. And if you know, the Good View Woodworks channel there's a very shallow curve upward. But what it is really is it doesn't matter about subscribers. You only get paid per view, but it's really not about views. I mean, it is about views, but more importantly than most is how long people are watching your videos. So if people are only staying on for a few minutes and leaving, YouTube is generally not going to recommend your stuff as much. Really what the algorithm wants is somebody to continue watching video after video and staying on YouTube. That's the goal. So the longer they watch your video and the longer they stay on, the more that they'll recommend your stuff. And that's the trick that I'm finding is really with DIY stuff. Most people are not watching the video in entirety because they're trying to figure out a project. So what they'll do is they'll skip around to the parts that they feel are necessary or something that they want to learn, skip the rest, and then they move on to the next one. And so what I'm finding is that my average view duration is about 6 to 8 minutes. So that's okay. My goal on here obviously is to provide a service, but also, you know, help others too. So that's where we are. That's where we're at on this. Steve knows says everything: lights, Nerf bars, grill guards, on and on. LOL. Yeah, man, that's cool. My old truck, I have a '87 Dodge D150 that I drive daily, and it's pretty beat up. But I'm slowly adding, you know, stuff to make it nicer, like headlights, grill, stuff like that, because it was kind of beat up. But it's got a 4-speed on the floor, stick shift, granny gear, 2-wheel drive V8. I think it's got 318 in it. Which is, it's actually a pretty nice little truck. It's not little. It's a D150. So it actually does, it serves its purpose, tows my little 12-foot trailer. So it does pretty well. Bruce Mayer says, best weather ever. I have lived here for 51 years and can't remember a cooler summer. It's always about 105 here this time of year. Are you having a colder winter? Actually, no. This winter was pretty mild. We had 1-2 snows. Excuse me. We had 1 or 2 snows, and wasn't that much snow. It's actually colder now than it was at the beginning of the winter, and I think we're about to move right on into spring. So actually a pretty mild winter this year. So Steve says, what about doing some home improvement epoxy projects? That is definitely on the docket. What we're actually doing now is we're prepping the kitchen, and this will be the next step, I think, either that or our master bathroom. However, I have several gallons of epoxy over here in the corner that we're going to be doing our countertops. So we're going with a white quartz type of countertop, very clean, nothing too crazy, but I think it'll look very, very nice in our home. So we will probably be doing that. William Blackman says, do I hear an epoxy shifter knob? Well, we did an epoxy shifter knob for that truck and have a detailed video right on that. It actually came out pretty cool. It looks like a galaxy. And yeah, it was pretty fun doing that. Steve No says, let me know what you need for that beast. Yeah, man. So yeah, really what I need is a grill, some headlights, and some taillights at the moment. Taillight lenses, not bulbs. And the grill is cracked and stuff like that. So those are the first things I think I'll need, and a couple of side mirrors. The driver's side mirrors, driver's side mirror is good. The passenger side mirror is worn out. The bushings are worn out, so it just kind of flaps in the wind. I don't need the passenger one anyway. Oh man, dude, man is still on this freaking thing. Sorry, came out with another. I'm gonna hide this. Sweet. So I gotta hide these freaking stuff, man. These guys come in here and just mess stuff up. Troy, what's up, Troy? Says, what up, Nate? From Louisiana, 16 degrees last week down here. Dang, man, 16 degrees. Wow. That's too cold. The pale horse says I'm gonna cast my cat in epoxy when it dies. Oh my gosh. Gross. Oh man, that's so gross. Um wow. Yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that. William Wagman says creepy, but I like it. You guys are weird. Bruce Mayer says doing a slab for a bench, and can I recoat it with just a light sand? Yes, yes you can. Just make sure you sand with 220, and you can totally recoat it, no issues. Great question. Once again, guys, this is a Q&A session too, so feel free to ask as many questions as you want, as long as it pertains to something in the shop. I know the cat one was weird, but hey, he included epoxy in it, and it was somewhat part of it. We don't want to get too crazy, but if you guys have any questions, just like Bruce and asking about recoating, please feel free to post them up there. And the pale horse says, how much epoxy do I need for a cat? And, you know, it all depends on the size of the cat. Chad says, smash that like button. Steve says, this is hilarious. Yeah, it depends on your cat, man. Measure length times width times height and divide that by 231, and that'll give you gallons. So length times width times height in inches. Then divide by 231, you get gallons. So that'll tell you exactly how much to epoxy your cat. Troy says, anyone else try the landscaping border for odd shapes? That's a great point too. Troy, you actually used some landscaping border from a local hardware store, and he actually made one that was kind of like almost like a soft peanut shape or an oval shape. That was actually pretty cool. William says, heavy barn door sliding on rails, split door epoxy. Any thoughts? Dude, this has been on my to-do list for a long time. And in my master bedroom, when we first bought this house, I built a sliding door to go over the master bedroom. I made all the hardware from scratch. I made everything from scratch, door too, but the door is more like a farmhouse style, no epoxy, where we took some rusty old chains and put them in vinegar to stain it kind of a weird color, to give it that rustic feel. It worked out great. However, I really want to do a pocket door, and I was thinking about doing an epoxy slab pocket door, and so we might be doing something like that. Other than that, so what I thought about doing, especially because it's real heavy, is you have your guides, your rails have to be mounted into the studs with so a little bit bigger lag bolts. I actually made 3 barn doors out of 8-quarter poplar for my boss and his home, and all 3 hang on the same hardware. And each one of those doors was probably about 85 pounds, and so because they were solid, and it hasn't sagged. It's been in there for a couple of years, no issues at all. And so I think doing that same thing would work really well. I think as long as they're in the studs, lag bolted, you're perfectly fine. Steve Kirkland hit us up with a super chat. Hey Steve, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It means a lot. It really does. Thank you. Linda says, we have used a very flexible plastic baseboard instead of the landscaping border, and it worked well. Well, that's cool too. I'm always looking for something like that. Oh, I forgot to say what's coming up too. Some weird stuff in epoxy. My dad wants me to make a coffee table out of coffee beans. So we're going to be doing a little, it'll be a circle side table, and we'll be doing that soon. I've been promising him that for a while. I haven't got to it yet. So sorry, but we're going to be doing one of those. So that will be fun to do an epoxy side table out of coffee beans. So I think that'll be cool. I think I've seen a lot of people use foam in the middle of their coffee bean coffee table, but I think we're gonna go all out on this one, and we're gonna do full coffee beans and epoxy, and that's it. So I think that'll be the best way. Obviously, too, I think the inside of a coffee bean is kind of like somewhat hollow, has like these voids in it. So we may have to do an epoxy top coat. I'm not sure about that one, but it depends on what he wants. Paul Porter's on here right now. Hey, Paul, what do you want as far as a finish on that thing? Do you want a glossy finish, super glossy, or would you like a satin finish like we do with Rubio Monocoat? He said it's about time. You know what? I got a lot of stuff going on, okay? And then Renee Porter, my mom, says, we love coffee. Heart. And then Bruce says, I see a lot of walnut wood being used in America. It's a hardwood. Is it a hardwood? I wonder how it compares to Australian wood. I do a lot of red gum and yellow box. It's hardwood. Well, dude, how can I, yeah, walnut is a hardwood. It's slightly harder than oak, but not much more harder than oak. It's just, but it's a little bit harder on the Janka hardness scale, if you look that up. Man, I would actually like to see some of those Australian hardwoods. I don't have as much knowledge on the exotic, what we would call exotic woods. Walnut is one of my favorites because there's not a lot, I mean, it's kind of more expensive. And it's around. It's not like it's extinct or anything like that, but I just think it's really pretty when you have the light colored sapwood with the dark heartwood. So Paul Porter says glossy. He wants a glossy. So that'd make it a lot easier, actually. Sean says, how do you coat both sides with resin without drips? Great question. I have a video on that. If you go look at that huge blue dining room table, I have some videos exactly on how to do that. So like in that whole series, we have step by step on how I built that table, and I showed that process. But essentially what you do, oh my word, essentially what you do is you put epoxy on the bottom first, okay? And get that with a tape border. Let it set up, pull the tape off, okay? Then, after that has set up, that your 1/8 inch, you then round over both the top and bottom with a 1/4 inch round over bit and put tape on the bottom behind the round over on the bottom side of the table. Then when you pour your epoxy and spread it out, it rolls over the edge. Then it also rolls under that other edge because of the 1/4 inch round over, and the drip lands on the tape. So now, once the epoxy is set up but not fully cured, where it's still soft, like very soft, but it's not going to drip anymore, you peel the tape off. And that's how you keep the drips from ending up on the bottom of the table. Hopefully that makes sense. And then Sean says sand and polish. Yep, finish it up with sanding and polish. Bruce says same, to see your wood types, lots of colors. Yeah, super awesome. William Wagman, man, what are you doing, bro? Dude, thank you so much. I don't even know. Sometimes when you guys just support like that, I don't know what to say. I feel like thank you is not enough. But guys, this guy right here, William Wagman, he has been on here since the beginning, pretty much. Always hooking me up. He sent me some things in the mail. He's trying to help out with content by, you know, putting a little bit of fire under my bottom with sending me cool things, and I just really appreciate it. So William is a great guy, and dude, thank you so much, man. It really means a lot. It really does. John Williams says, so I bought some Incredible Solution epoxy, and it takes a bit longer to set up compared to Total Boat, but we poured very well, no bubbles. Oh, but poured very well, no bubbles. And yeah, and that's what I like about the Incredible Solutions casting epoxy. And Sorry, I saw another comment come up. Um, Dang, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so yes, yeah, incredible solution, no bubbles. That's why I like it, because it sets up a little longer. It allows the bubbles to rise to the surface, and then you don't have to worry about that. Now, it still happens. You still get some here and there, but as long as you keep temperatures down, the bubbles can rise to the surface. So, yeah, it's really nice. Sean says, awesome, thank you. Bruce says, just keep doing stuff. I like it. And then William Wagner says, look forward to the stink pickle. We're definitely got to do it now, that's for sure. Taylor Sessions says, John Williams, how long did it take to ship? I ordered some last week and can't wait to give it a try. So Taylor, it should ship rather quickly. I'm sorry that you haven't gotten it. And then Aaron Hungay says, damn son, someone needs a nice sweatshirt to send them. You're right. And you know what? I will do that. So William, if you want a sweatshirt or a hat or something, send me your address in a private message. We can get something out to you for sure. Lee says, what's up, big homie? Love your content. What's up with what's the consensus on using Kwikset on the edges? I thought I might have heard you say you've had some issues with that recently. That is right, Lee, for sure. I don't seal the edges anymore, ever. And I used to do that though, and I had, if you check out one, I think it's like 2 videos ago or 3 videos ago, I had a major conference table, like a big one, separate, and that's because I sealed the edges, and the bond, even though I sanded the epoxy on the edge, was not strong enough to keep that table from moving. So I recommend do not sand the edges at all, ever. You really want a deep pour epoxy to have time to soak into those edges. So if the deep pour epoxy takes 3 days to set up, it'll really give you the best bond, because you have a day and a half of it soaking into that grain and creating a really strong bond. So great question, man. Really appreciate that question. But yeah, I don't seal the edges anymore at all. William Wackman says medium husky. LOL. Okay. So is medium husky, is that a large? Chaz says, have you cast some of those burls that they have been doing on Black Forest Wood Company? No, I haven't been casting any burls. However, I did do the part 1 of our coffee table, our personal coffee table, and it's all maple burl. So we're actually sending that out this week to get it planed down, and I'll have some video of taking that over to my friend's new shop so that we can get it planed down. I actually had it set up to do that last week, and a friend of mine needed some help on a car. We tore apart the rear suspension of my old Beetle because it had some race car parts on it. A whole rear suspension was from a Porsche 944 Turbo, and he was going to use it on his Bug, which he has a 500 horsepower rotary engine in the back of his Beetle, and needed some suspension. So we took it apart, gave it to him, and along with some Porsche wheels and Porsche brakes, so his Beetle should be pretty dope. So Bruce says Blacktails he seals his edges. Yes, I know he does, and he said he's never had any issues. But if you look at other epoxy guys like Black Forest Wood Company, they say the same thing and have had those issues. So Blacktail Studio, man, he just has, first of all, Cam, his name is Cam. He does great work. I love his stuff, and that dude is awesome. I've reached out to him a couple of times to do a collaboration, but I think he's on a different level than I am, and so it just didn't work out. However, he great guy, still super nice guy. He did respond and talk for a little bit, but yeah, he seals his edges every time and says he's never had an issue. I didn't have an issue. I sealed a bunch of them, and then I did have an issue once, and I just don't ever want to have an issue again. And so that's why I don't seal them. I just think it's the best practice. But he does have some good tips, especially when it comes to sealing edges, or when he pours. After he pours and lets it sit for a while, he brushes the edges in the thickness of the pour. He dips the brush down into the pour and brushes the edges to release those bubbles from the edge. Dude's very smart. So yeah, I would listen to him for sure. But when it comes to sealing those edges, man, I just don't ever want that to happen again. And so I never seal them anymore. Taylor says, I've got some Cambro brand plastic tubs that I've been using as molds for charcuterie boards. They are $13 instead of the astronomical prices for the exact same thing, probably polypropylene and polyethylene. Taylor, yeah, send a link. I'm curious to see what it looks like. If you have a link, that'd be great. Diego says, Saludos de Argentina. So what's up, Diego? Hello. I'm glad you're on here this evening. Bruce says, yes, Blacktails is brilliant. I just want one of my jobs to look like his. Yeah. Yeah, dude, has some great stuff. Super smart guy. What's funny though about him, he's always said, you know, his videos are like how to have a nice table in a small shop or something. That dude does not have a small shop. At least not what I consider a small shop. But yeah, I know that's for video views, and I've done a fair share of those titles and stuff myself. But yeah, that guy. Actually, if I could do something similar to him, like how he has left his full-time job to work and do something he loves, I am totally down for it. And that is, you know, I strive to be similar to him in that area for sure. Steve says, have you worked with putting LED lights in a table? Yes, and I haven't found the best way to do it yet, so I haven't posted anything. As you guys have seen, I still have this night light to do, and my wife told me last night, you need to do that night light for Esther, okay? It's crazy. And so I think we'll be getting to that sooner than later. So I'm not good with Spanish. Anybody speak Spanish here? He says, friends de Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I'm not sure what that means, but if anybody can speak Spanish, let me know what that means. Bruce says, same. Gary says, what's up, brother? Great job on your videos. Hey, Gary, I really appreciate that, man. I really do. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask them. We're going to actually start cutting this live stream off. I'm going to get back to hanging out with my wife, my lovely wife. We usually spend these times in the evenings with one another, but you know what? Shop Talk Tuesday is one of my favorite evenings during the week, and I thank you guys so much for being here this evening, but I'm going to go hang out with her for a little bit. You guys are awesome. William, thanks again, man, for real. Thanks for the super chat. Chad, thanks for your super chat as well. And I know I'm forgetting one. Let me go back. Steve, let's see. And Steve Kirkland. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Yeah, William, hit me up with an address so I can send you something. But guys, I'm gonna let this end tonight here on the super chat. On this. I'm losing my train of thought. Look, this live stream has been awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And as always, guys, thank you for hanging out with us. You guys rock. I love you. Mean it. And I will see you on the next one.